Okay, so we want to do the same task again now and complete the second column in our grid. So we want to say, well, how does Dickens then highlight Scrooge's philanthropy in stave 5? How do we know that he is now a better person, that he is kind, and that he is generous? So can you work through and find almost really some of the opposite things that happen to that which we've seen in stave 1? Okay, where does Dickens contrast Scrooge's behaviour at the end of the novel to show that he has redeemed himself? Okay, so at the end here you might have said, well, he loves Christmas. In fact, he says he's going to, celebrate it all the time, all year round. That he goes to Fred's, in fact, to dinner. He turns up there, he accepts the invitation that he's had every year up until now, and has refused before. He gives a huge amount of money to the charity collectors. He makes a big donation showing that he is now generous and charitable. In stave 1, he shut the door on the carol singer. In stave 5, we know he's going off to buy that prized turkey, or sending the boy off to buy the prized turkey for the Cratchit family. And he doesn't complain this time about paying Bob Cratchit. Instead, he actually gives him a pay rise. He increases his salary. So what we can see here then is a cyclical structure. And this is when a text sort of begins and ends in the same place or with the same ideas. The 5 staves and chapters of this text show us how Scrooge is able to transform as a character from the miserly, misanthropic character of stave 1. He is shown through going back to his past and nostalgia for the past. He's shown by looking at people celebrating Christmas in the present and finding kind of pity towards Tiny Tim. He's shown as well that the future, and he has fear for what might come to him in the future. So that by the end of it, he has become this good philanthropic character. So we're going back then to link up some of the ideas from stave 5 back up to stave 1 to show how he has changed and is a redeemed man. So we can see this also in some key quotations. We know in stave 1, Scrooge is described by Dickens as hard and sharp as flint, and secret and self-contained, and as solitary as an oyster. And I know in your lessons you will have been exploring those key quotations, those similes, and looking for the symbolism that might lie within it, that not only do they suggest that Scrooge is lonely, shut off from society, a very mean and hard-hearted character, but they also have that hint at the possibility of redemption with those images of heat, the pearl inside the oyster perhaps suggesting there's something valuable within him. There's those little hints of redemption within those key quotes. And really significantly then, we have some further similes in stave 5, where we see that he is a completely different man. This time round, he's as light as a feather. He's as happy as an angel. So through this, perhaps Dickens is showing us that by changing his personality, his qualities, and the way he treats others around him, Scrooge finds happiness. He becomes a lighter, more joyous person. And in fact, he says he's, quite as if he's a baby, like he's being given this chance at a new life. He has is able to start over again. So this is important because what it's providing us with is that cyclical structure. So Dickens uses that cyclical structure to show how Scrooge changes and he achieves redemption by the end. Dickens contrasts Scrooge's behaviour and his actions from the start to the very end of the novella. And Dickens uses this transformation of Scrooge's character really to provide hope to all people that they too can improve their lives. So what kind of message is Dickens able to convey then through this cyclical structure? Well, he's able to share with us an allegorical tale, one that has a hidden kind of moral or political message. It's a tale of redemption, and it tells this message to the reader that everyone is capable of change. There's an importance that we are charitable, that we are kind in society, and that we care for one another. Dickens suggests then that this kindness and this generosity actually does bring us happiness, that Scrooge's pursuit of money, of profit and wealth didn't bring him happiness. In fact, it was a burden to him, and not only did it result in the suffering of others, particularly the poor, but it meant that he was shut off from mankind and those around him. So Dickens believed then that our individual actions could improve society, that this could have positive benefits for everyone if we just looked out for others and were kind and generous. Okay, so we've covered quite a lot of ideas in this lesson, and I know that you've been going through and making notes. So I think the next stage for you is to begin to consolidate and go back to your big question. So we asked at the beginning, how does Dickens use the structure of the novel to convey Scrooge's journey to redemption? And we are going to go through and explain that using these sentence stems. You want to show how that cyclical structure works, give some examples where you can see Scrooge, what type of character is he at the beginning, how does he change by the end, and then what is Dickens' overall message? What is it that he believes and conveys to the audience through this journey to redemption? So I've put at the bottom of the screen here some keywords. You might use some or all of them in your response. That's up to you. So I would encourage you to pause the video and say that this is probably going to take you about a minimum of 10 minutes to complete. And when you've done this, you might wish to share that paragraph with your teachers. You might upload it onto Show My Homework, for example, or send it to them via email. Okay, so once you have done that, you really have completed today's lesson. However, if you've gone through this lesson relatively quickly and you find you've got some more time, you want a little bit more of a challenge, I have popped onto Show My Homework some key quotations from Stave 1 and Stave 5. So what you could do with the rest of this lesson is to use those quotations to explain further Scrooge's journey to redemption. You might wish to use some what, how, why paragraphs to practice analysing language and exploring those quotations in more depth. And furthermore, you could create yourself some flashcards so that you're practicing memorising those key quotations as well as learning some of the key vocabulary from this lesson. Okay, thanks for listening. I hope you all have a lovely day.